So at this stage you should be ready to start your final piece. You're going to take your compositional designs and you're going to decide which is the one that you want to work with for your final piece. Alongside that, you're going to need your large sheet of card. You're going to need the text that you've chosen, which will be printed on A3, and you'll need tracing paper and the chalk and charcoal. You may also choose to use the skull template, as you can use that to trace the skull, but if you want to draw it freehand, then that's absolutely fine. So if you are going to use the skull to trace over, place your tracing paper on top, hold it firm, and then as you did with the previous skull drawing, you're going to start with your darker areas using the charcoal. Start to bring that shading in. And vary the pressure you use. And also, as before, you can use the white chalk to bring in highlights and blend the black into a grey. Okay, so once you finish drawing your skull, you need to spray this with some hairspray. This will act like fixative and stop the chalk and charcoal mixing and smudging. The reason we've done it on greaseproof paper is so when it goes on top of text, you can still see parts of the text coming through. So if I put that to the side one moment, I need to look at the plan. So this is the composition that we've decided on. This is going to be the tracing paper with the skull here, so it will be torn around the side of the skull, and the text that we're working with will sit underneath that. So I need to take my text, I need to glue that into the bottom corner of my page there. And then when I've done that, I'm going to start drawing out the outlines. Okay, so you can see we've torn a bit of the text there and then glued it down and then drawn out the outlines. We've tried to keep it as close to the compositional plan as possible. The sheet you've been given is A2, but there's nothing to say you have to work with that. So if your composition was more of a square shape or even a circle shape, you can always crop it later. So I've just drawn a line across there to show where the top of the image will be. So the next thing is to add colour. Now unfortunately we didn't have enough materials to be able to give you all a set of paints. If you can get hold of paints, then that would be brilliant. If you can't, look around the house and see what you can use. You've got the colouring pencils that we've given you, but you might also be able to use things like food colouring again or other household materials to make some colours to add to your design. And so your final outcome should be something similar to this. Now remember, this is very like the sort of piece that you might do during your 10-hour exam. So this is not a piece of work that should be rushed. Take your time with it, think about how you can layer different effects. Once you've stuck your tracing paper down, you can still paint on top of it, but it's nice that we can still see parts of the text coming out underneath. If you want to wait until you get back to school to crop it, then that's fine. If you need any help with any of this, then you know the email addresses. Contact me or Miss Mitchell and we'll get back to you. You can send pictures if you want, showing us how it's developing, and we'll give you pointers as you go along. Remember, all of this work needs to be kept safe and brought back into school as soon as we reopen.